I'm Christelle from Diabetes Strong, and we can probably all agree that low blood sugars suck. It's the worst feeling, and the quicker we can get that feeling to disappear, the better. The key is to choose a high glycemic carb. So a pretty pure carb in the sense that it shouldn't have a lot of fibers and protein in it. Let me walk you through a few examples. So I listed some here, and this is actually one of my favorite, is like a fruit puree or fruit juice. So that will raise blood sugars really quickly. The trick, I think, is to choose a kid size. So this one has 14 grams of carbs. And same thing with juice boxes. You can get these tiny juice boxes that only has 15 grams of carbs. Other options, some people like to use like Coca-Cola, which is straight up carb. My issue with that is that even the smallest can has 25 grams of carbs. That might be too much for you. And this bad boy has 65. And if you have a really low blood sugar, will you really be measuring out so you only get the amount of carbs that you need? I don't know. Another option is Gummy Bears. It's a pretty good carb for treating low blood sugars. I don't keep Gummy Bears in my house because I would go through the bag. Also, if you have a low blood sugar, you're shaking, will you only eat the amount of carbs that you need? Same deal as with the Coke, you might want to measure out your Gummy Bears beforehand if you want to go that route, or buy the little snack sized ones. Then there's fruit, like an apple or a banana. Great carbohydrates again. However, they do have a lot of fibers. That means that they won't raise your blood sugars as quickly as some of these other carbohydrates. Candy bars. I actually hear a lot of people who treat with chocolate, and I do not recommend it whatsoever. The reason for that is this is really high in fat. Fat slows down the absorption of glucose into the bloodstream. That means that this won't raise your blood sugars quickly. So if you're in that shaky state or where you just don't feel well, it might taste good, but it'll take a lot of time to raise your blood sugars. My favorite is glucose tabs. And I know a lot of people are like, ugh, glucose tabs. But I think the key is to find glucose tabs that you actually like. So this one is called chocolate marshmallow. And I really like that. That's from the CVS pharmacy. You can only get it in store though. I'll leave a link to some other glucose tabs. What I like about glucose tabs, and why this is my favorite, is that one tab has 45 grams of carbohydrates per tab. So it's really easy to measure out, and you can get the right amount for whatever low blood sugar you have. Because that's the thing. Yes, the guidelines say that you should eat 15 grams of carbohydrates, wait 15 minutes, measure your blood sugar again, and see if you need more. First of all, most people don't do that. Because when you have the low blood sugar, a lot of us we just eat, we just inhale all the food around us, right? But if you do take a structured approach to it, and I would say after 23 years of diabetes, I have finally learned how to do that. So I actually rarely overtreat low blood sugar now. My trick again is glucose tabs. So first of all, how many glucose tabs you'll need or how many grams of carbohydrates you'll need will depend on a lot of things. So if I do have a low blood sugar, some of the things that I'll start to look at. So I do wear a continuous glucose monitor. I wear it here on my arm. I know it's FDA approved for the stomach. I like it on my arm. If my alarm goes off and tells me, hey, I have a low blood sugar. So low blood sugar is generally defined as 70 milligrams per deciliter, but you might feel it higher or you might not feel it at all. But I've set my alarm so it will alert me when I hit 70 milligrams per deciliter. First thing I look at is, well, what time of day is it? What am I doing? For example, I know that my hormones will start to raise my blood sugars early in the morning. So let's say it's 6 a.m. and I hear that alarm. I might take one glucose tab. For these, it's 5 grams of carbohydrates. Yeah, some of the other glucose tabs have less carbohydrates, but that's maybe 5 grams. And that'll be enough for me because I know my hormones will start elevating my blood sugars. Let's say that I'm out for a hike. I'm only maybe halfway into my hike. I have another half hour, another hour left, and my blood sugar is 70. One glucose tab won't be enough. I might take 2 and maybe have a banana, right? So you need to start thinking about what situation are you in, how many carbohydrates will you actually need. Other things that impact how many carbohydrates you need is, well, again, the 15 grams is general recommendation. It will also depend on your body size. So if you have a child that you're treating a low blood sugar for, they might need less than an adult male. Also, again, I said, what are you doing? What time of day is it? What activity are you doing? And another thing for us who wear a glucose monitor would be, are your blood sugars actually dropping quickly? Are they stable? Or they may be already on their way up? So all of these things you need to take into consideration. So this is all about how you yourself treat a low blood sugar. And again, for some people it's around the 70 milligrams per deciliter, for some people it's less or higher. This is not, however, how you necessarily treat a severe low blood sugar. So let's talk a little bit about that. So severe low blood sugar is a situation where you'll need help from somebody else to treat your low blood sugar. You might be passed out, you might be unresponsive. If you're in a situation like that, somebody around you will need to call 111, but if you have a glucagon kit, they can inject that into your body. So glucagon, basically what it does is that it makes your liver release glucose into your bloodstream, thereby raising your blood sugars to back to healthy levels. Again, you should still seek out medical attention, but that could be a way of basically saving you. So there's some different options on the market. Here in the US, there is something called Gvoke, which is a pre-mixed glucagon. This is a traditional glucagon kit that you probably see the red box. And then there is a new nasal glucagon as well. It's called Baqsimi. It's hard to say. But those are the three ones that are available here in the US, whereas the red glucagon kit, I believe it's from Lilly, is available pretty much worldwide. But that is how you treat a low blood sugar. You choose a carbohydrate with very little fiber, very little fat, and that way you can raise your blood sugars quickly and get back to living your life. Thank you so much for watching.